We are in our prime time. How are midlifers redefining what it is like to be in your 40s? How are we ensuring that life can still be fun, rewarding, and full of accomplishments? Hey everyone, I'm Mike.
And I'm Andrew.
And we're the Midlife Guys. So, this past Sunday, July 12th, 2026, Emma Rosenblum wrote a fantastic essay in the Wall Street Journal. In it, she discussed the fact that, well, the 40s are not the old set of 40s. As a matter of fact, the article was entitled, "Your 40s Used to Be Middle Age? Not Anymore." The essay celebrates these strong women in their 40s like Anne Hathaway, Natalie Portman, and Serena Williams. In the essay, she also writes that back in the 90s, when she was growing up, so she's clearly middle-aged as well and in her 40s, you were considered old once you hit 40. In movies like When Harry Met Sally, Meg Ryan lamented that she was almost 40. In Father of the Bride, which came out in 1991, then 45-year-old Diane Keaton was characterized as a lonely mother with empty nester feelings. Fast forward to today, 40 is a new milestone, and one that Mrs. Rosenblum described as prime time. A time in our lives where you can still do anything you set your mind to. And it isn't just women who are living their renaissance in their 40s. Vozina is a Cape Verdean professional soccer player who turned 40 right before the World Cup. He's taken the world by storm for his goal-keeping abilities. And that is our topic for today. Prime time. Fuck yeah. We are in our prime time. How are midlifers redefining what it is like to be in your 40s? How are we ensuring that life can still be fun, rewarding, and full of accomplishments? Andrew, are you ready to dive into the prime time discussion?
I am, but first I have two things off of your intro there. One is that good for you for reading the news consistently. I think we need to keep normalizing that. I feel like fewer people do that, but I love that you're citing and sent me the Wall Street Journal essay. And I was like, oh, there you go. And second, though, flashing back to childhood, like they mentioned in the essay. So Father of the Bride was one of my family's favorite movies growing up. We watched it a bunch. I 100% thought that Diane Keaton's character was supposed to be way older than 45. It's kind of wild to think that she was only supposed to be 45 in that movie. Yeah.
In looking back, in not just that movie, but a lot of movies
That's
that
right.
came out in the 90s.
Movies. Yeah.
I look back and I'm like, Jesus Christ, she was only supposed to be, in her 40s. She's practically 1 foot in the grave. That is not how life worked. Even in the 90s. So
it is not, yeah. Although I think it does bring up another good point. Maybe it's kind of like mentioned at the beginning, we're talking about prime time, and which I love that idea, being in your 40s. And the essay does talk and focus a lot on women. I do think there has always been a double standard with men and women at different ages, and what's considered old or over the hill or past your prime, whatever kind of stupid phrase you want to use. I think that's probably still true today, maybe less so than it was back in the 90s, but it is, I think, interesting as we talk about this. It was something I was thinking about, as I feel like there definitely is still kind of a double standard as to who's being evaluated based on their age.
I 100% agree with that. There definitely has been, and there continues to be, a double standard.
Yeah.
As a side note, if anybody hears rustling, it is over 100 degrees today, so my dog has a ton of energy because I've not been able to take him on his normal long walks or adventures. So he is jumping all around. But if you hear him, forgive me.
He's ready for his prime time.
He is ready for his prime time. I'm not sure I am with 100-degree heat, but here we are. All right. Before we start, I want to run through a list of individuals. You will know some of these individuals who got their start in their 40s. First off, Stan Lee. People know him.
Yeah.
Wrote The Fantastic Four just shy of his 39th birthday in 1961. Vera Wang was famous figure skater and journalist before entering the fashion industry at the age of 40. And now she has one of the biggest um, dressmaking and women designer clothing brands in the world. Um, Robin Chase, who co-founded Zipcar, he was 42. Samuel L. Jackson, who, everybody knows Samuel L. Jackson. He didn't
He's
really
still
get
in
his
his prime time
he
too. He's
really
never
is
going to be
still in
out of
his
prime
prime
time.
time.
Yeah, no, he really will never
He
be.
didn't I
Yeah.
mean, he was doing bit parts, before landing in Spike Lee's Jungle Fever in 1991 at the age of 43. I can't believe Samuel L. Jackson is still doing movies too. Um, Sam Walton, I mean, that man had an okay career in his 20s and 30s, but his real success came at the age of 44 when he founded Walmart. Henry Ford was 45 when he created the Model T. Rodney Dangerfield was 46 when he first went on the Ed Sullivan Show and got his career then. Charles Darwin was 50 when he wrote on the
I
origin
mean,
of
that's a
species.
reference. We're going back to
It
Charles
really is.
Darwin.
I mean, we're going back and way back in history. Julia Child, she was 50 when she launched her career as a celebrity chef in 1961. Betty White was 51 when she landed her role in the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Yeah.
I mean, the list goes on. Ray Kroc was 52 when he bought McDonald's. Um, the list of women and men who have had successful careers after 40 is insane. I could go on. Like Colonel Sanders was 62 when he created Kentucky Fried Chicken. Um, we've just got so many instances of individuals after the age of 40 who went on to very, very successful careers. So, what is behind this old ass narrative that 40 is essentially a death sentence? I really want to know. I mean, I distinctly remember when my parents turned 40 and their reaction was not positive, to say the least. This wasn't some like great big celebration for them. But why? I mean, where did this negative outlook come from when we have thousands and thousands of examples of actors and entrepreneurs and athletes, et cetera, that have made a name for themselves after 40? Andrew, where did this fucking come from?
I mean, that's a good question because I do remember, you know, when my parents had turned 40. I don't know if they were like upset about it, but it definitely, people used to make the joke of like, oh, you're over the hill. And there was like a bunch of decorations about that
Oh,
idea of
yes,
sort of like,
over
you're
the
like
hill.
over the hill. And I was like, what's the thing? And, what I thought was most interesting about your list is because obviously lots of people in their careers, they go past 40. And so some people, continue to, get promotions or move up in their careers long term. But what I thought was kind of cool about your list was people kind of reinventing themselves or sort of starting something new at 40 and how successful you can be. And I think that kind of feeds in this idea of sort of prime time. And again, I don't know where it started. It feels like it's always been in pop culture though, right? Like I feel like in TVs and movies and again, like birthday decorations and stuff, there's always just been this sense of 40 for some reason was like you're past your prime or over the hill or whatever it is. I mean, how that got started, I don't know. I mean, the only thing I can think of, which is a little on the dark side, is maybe because generations ago you didn't live as long anymore. So 40 was kind of like you're sort of more than halfway there. I don't know, but I am definitely with you that I think, or I love the idea of embracing kind of the prime time piece of it, especially because it reminds me of when we talked like a month or two ago, maybe about kind of what we loved most about our 40s. And both you and I talked about the idea of kind of feeling confident and having a sense like we kind of understood the world and our lives well enough and kind of were in a good position to make better decisions and really like, live your best life. And I feel like you don't hit that stride until your 40s. So it should definitely be more of the prime time approach and let's throw away the you're past your prime in your 40s because I don't think that's true.
It's really funny that you bring up the over the hill thing at like, I don't, when I've gone to, I don't think they're party supply stores anymore, but like when you go and get like cards and stuff like that, I don't
Yeah.
see those types of cards anymore.
That's a good point. I don't, yeah.
I don't see those decorations anymore. I feel like, clearly aging is, you know, whatever we describe as midlife or over the hill has turned into a renaissance, and even in the cultural sphere, which is good.
Has shifted. Do you know what's funny about cards though? Because my parents both just recently had their birthdays, so I went looking for birthday cards. And you're right, they're no more over the hill type of cards, and all the quote unquote funny ones, which I don't even think are generally that funny, are all now about like alcohol. It's like, you're old and aged like fine wine. Or there was one about like old stinky cheese, I guess that was supposed to be funny. Or like as you get older, you know what you love, and it's someone holding a drink. And it just I thought that was kind of funny. I'm like, so we're trying to be positive about it, but it's all about drinking now, I guess, instead of being over the hill.
Hmm.
I mean,
I,
it's better probably.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I hate buying cards. I think it's such a ripoff. Much rather like take somebody out to dinner or something for
Yeah,
their birthday. So I have to go look.
fair.
I will say, I don't know where this negativity came from either. I think you're probably right, um, that people just didn't live as long. But I mean, yet again, history is littered with examples of individuals who have lived way past 80.
Yeah.
I don't know. I will say, reading that Wall Street Journal essay actually made me angry. Because as long
Mm,
as I can remember, I've been told that turning 40 was essentially a death sentence, and that you know, you came to this realization that your life was halfway over, but that's not true. Um, and we've joked, to your point, a month or two ago, when we joked about all the things that happens when you turn 40, and it's true that not everything are rainbow and sunshine.
right.
Things hurt a lot more.
So much
um,
more sore. That is true.
but there's a lot that's really fucking great
Yeah.
about being over 40. Um, you know, I remember when I turned 40, uh, thinking that things aren't so bad. My body didn't completely fall apart. I didn't feel bad all the time. 40 can be very, very liberating. And I think that a narrative started forming a long time ago that when you hit 40, you were supposed to calm down and just live out the rest of your life. And younger boomers started overturning that narrative, and each successive generation, including us, have really, really altered what it means to turn 40, what it means to be over 40, and how rewarding, meaningful, and successful you can be after 40. And I really like that. So,
I do think it's a good place to maybe give a shout out, even though I know sometimes might be loath to do, Mike, to the boomers. 'Cause I feel like this probably did start with a lot of that generation of sort of, rethinking what it means to be 40 and then retirement and other things and not slowing down as much. So I guess, good for them for starting that trend. I feel like hopefully we're reinforcing it. And again, I do love this idea of the prime time approach. Although I do think too, your point about, people are living longer, some have in the past, but more so living longer. It's also, I feel like it's making me think of, I don't know if you've ever looked through like old family photos, but if you look at people from like 2 or 3 generations ago, someone who was 45 definitely looked a lot different than someone who looks 45 today. So I think part of it's also just like healthcare and maybe how we're taking care of ourselves and like how we approach our lives. I don't know. Cause I was just thinking about like, there are some pictures of like great grandparents, and I'm like, ooh, that was them at like 40 something.
that's a really good point. I need to
Yeah,
look
just
that
like
up.
you should. It's like wild to be like,
I
wow.
need to look at these old photo albums.
I mean, probably had tougher lives than we did, but yeah, it's
And
like,
and I
oof.
agree with your point. I do think there's a distinction between older boomers and younger boomers, though. I feel like the younger
Okay.
boomers really kind of took
Yeah.
this bull by the horns and really started pushing to change the narrative around it. And then Gen X, um, kind of like millennials, even though we're like cuspers of Gen X and millennials, is like the boomer generation and the millennial generation are just really big generations, and they probably both
Yes.
needed to have been cut in half, because they're quite different in how they act and how they do things. So,
Oh, like older versus younger parts of those generations. Yeah, I
yes,
think they're very different from one another. Yeah.
yes. All right. So I want to take a deeper dive in what prime time means to us. Yes, because we are in our fucking prime time. I'm going to kick off this conversation. For me, being in my prime time phase of life means that I have the cognitive and physical health to take on whatever challenges or opportunities I want to. As I've mentioned previously, I'm trying to make sure that life after 40 doesn't slow down. I'm trying to travel as much as possible. There are a lot of places in this world I want to see, and I see no reason to stop trying to go see them. I'm trying to spend more time with family and people I love. That includes my family and friends. Ooh, I hear your dog now too, Andrew.
So real quick, we can cut this part out. She's actually sleeping and barking in her sleep right now.
Oh, that's cute.
It's too much. Yeah.
Oh,
So you want to
I'm
spend time
trying.
with family and friends and what else?
Fams that include, yes, family and friends. I'm trying to create more experiences for family and friends, going to places, creating those core memories that I know will last for the rest of my life. I'm also trying to better myself every day by continuing my lifelong learning. I'm taking 2 languages I've mentioned previously, but I'm also taking classes around my career, cooking, history, art, etc., etc. I'm also trying to find new ways to give back to my community. I've always loved volunteering and being an active member of the networks that I'm in, so I want to provide help when I can. I'm reading more. There are a lot of great books and authors out there. I'm also I'm committed to continuing to grow the business that Andrew and I own. We've been in business for nearly 17 years, and that is a big accomplishment, a remarkable accomplishment, in fact. And I want to see this company continue to grow and thrive. All of this is to say that I have no intention of slowing down. I want to make sure that my 40s are my most rewarding decade so far. I want to look back and know that I did everything I could to make both myself and those around me happy. Andrew, what are your thoughts? What does prime
I mean,
time mean to you?
I love your prime time for you. It just sounds like there's a lot going on in your prime time. It's making me a little tired, if I'm being honest, about all the
Oh, you'll
things
be
that
fine.
you're going
You'll
to be
be
working
fine. You've
on.
got more energy than I do.
Phew, I don't know about that. You know, for me, well, I'll get to what prime times means for me in a second. I guess this is related. You had talked about core memories there, which I think is really important and something I'm also focused on is creating core memories for the rest of my life. And kind of now again, I feel like more confident knowing what really matters or is important to me and using that to help figure out what those core memories are going to be. But I feel like it's not just about me as a parent. I'm also really trying to be cognizant about how can I create core memories for my boys, like that we can kind of have together so they can take those memories with them throughout their lives, which will obviously last longer than my life will. Which has kind of been a cool something I guess I didn't expect has kind of been just a cool way to think about life and some of the bigger stuff that we do is sort of how does it help create those great memories that'll be like us together doing awesome stuff. So that's one thing, definitely continue to do that in prime time. You know, and for me, it's doing a lot of the stuff that you had mentioned, Mike, but I'm looking at it as sort of prime time is figuring out what again really matters and sort of prioritizing what I want to do. Like I do want to spend more time with friends and family, you know, continue doing stuff with the kids, traveling, trying to stay fit. Mentioned, you know, continuing to focus on work that I'm passionate about and care about, building those core memories, all that stuff. Definitely want to keep doing that. But I think prime time to me is about how to prioritize and sometimes say no to things and say yes to a lot of things that I really want to do and I think are going to be beneficial, not just now, but later. And travel is a good example of that. You know, there's this joke I remember, at least hearing as a kid, is sort of, and I think in the past, millennials or our generation has been criticized for, you know, traveling too much too early on or something. But part of us is like, I want to enjoy it while I can and while I know that I'm going to enjoy it and have a great time. So think about that lens as well as what are some things that I want to do in my 40s and 50s when I still have a lot of energy and I'm really healthy and can do kind of some cool experiences. So I feel like that's prime time to me is how do I prioritize what's going to be the most exciting, beneficial, long lasting experiences.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I mean, I was watching some travel video, and they were talking. Oh, there was filming in the new um, museum that's right outside the Great Pyramids in Egypt, and
Oh
this
yeah.
fleet of older folks in their scooters going by that make. And I was like, that doesn't seem like a great way to see the pyramids, but okay, yeah. So I'm going to travel now while I still have the
Yeah.
health to do it.
We travel later too, but definitely travel now for some stuff. Yeah. The Jazzy
Yeah,
Army going by the
yeah,
museum.
it really was.
Like,
I was just like, oh my god. I don't want to be that person. So, all right. So, the final thing I want to discuss as part of prime time is what I'm going to try to do over the course of the rest of my 40s. And this is a big list, it's ambitious. But you know what? If I spell it out now, people can hold me accountable. But before that,
all right.
I want our listeners to pipe in. I want to hear
Yes.
from you, our listeners. What are you going to do in your 40s? How are you going to maximize those prime time years? Tell us your
Yeah.
stories.
Please share, because if you have cool ideas, I might steal them. So I'm always looking for new, fun, and interesting things to possibly do.
That is very true. If they do
Yeah.
have good ideas, I'm going to steal them
Oh,
too.
100%. Well, I'll give you credit 100%, but I might steal them. Yeah.
Hmm. All
So,
right.
Mike, what are your ideas? Okay. What's on your list?
I want to visit a total of, well, I want to have visited a total of 100 countries. I visited a lot of countries
Okay.
so
So you don't
far.
want to visit 100 by the time you're out of 40.
I want to have
Have
visited
visited.
100
Okay.
countries. I've already marked off quite a few countries.
Yeah. How many
I
have
want
you
to get to
visited so far, do you think? Like,
I had to write it down and it's
okay.
upstairs in my office. I don't remember.
Is it more than half? Do you think it's more than 50 you've been to already, or
It's like at 50
it's right at 50?
essentially.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so
No.
I got to get on it. I want to become fluent in the 2 languages that I'm taking. I want to have a successful 20th and 25th anniversary of our company. I want to write one piece of fiction that is published. I have done a lot of articles and, really boring technical articles that I have been published, that both Andrew and I have done and where we've been published. But they are boring technical articles. So.
Oh, so the fiction's interesting to me. I've not heard you say that before. So, like, do you
Mhm.
have something in mind, or you want to write some sort of like a short story or something? Or
Yes.
okay,
Yes. So
is it fanfic, or just you're gonna go? No.
I don't know. No. I don't know what my fan
I just
fiction
wanted your
would
reaction to that
would
question, but now
even
we got it.
be.
Yeah. That would be actually pretty funny to think about what you would even do.
Yeah, can't even think of anything. I want to create, 1, if not 2, really, really memorable experiences for my godsons. I want to be able to take my family on a long overdue vacation. Um, this is a big one. I want to hit that $1,000,000 mark. Show me the money. Show me the Benjamins. I want to have a vacation home. Um, and that's what I've got so far. So I'm going
Right.
to be completely honest that I realized I needed to put together, I needed to think about this more, and I needed to put together a more comprehensive list. I'm pretty good at putting together lists of things that I want to accomplish in a given year, but I had not
Mhm.
really thought about like looking at a decade of my life before and thinking about everything that I wanted to accomplish. So this is an exercise that I am excited about doing. And yet again, I'd be curious to hear from our listeners to hear if they've done this before. Have you created a list breaking out a decade of your life of the things that you want to see and do and explore? So yeah, and I'll keep you updated on my progress as I go through this process. What about
You'll
you,
get
Andrew?
check-ins. Yeah, I thought this was an we talked about this, I guess, a couple of days ago, this topic, when to do this. And so I started to think about it and put a list together. But like you, I tend to be much more goal-oriented, like within a year or like within a couple of months of things that I want to try to do. And yeah, we talked about that at the beginning of this year. Sort of those ideas of sort of setting yourself goals that you have for the year, and I've not really ever thought a ton about like long term goals. So it was an interesting exercise to start. I feel like you too. I need to probably spend a little bit more time like really thinking through what are some of those goals. What do they look like things I haven't quite calculated yet, but you know, kids graduating stuff or those type of milestones. I'm not. I don't have time to do that math quite yet, and I feel like it's not that close, but it's probably much closer than I think it is, and it'll happen way sooner than I think it
Way
will.
faster than you
I
think
know
it
it's
will.
gonna happen. I'm like, "Oh." Um, so I do think this is a super cool exercise and would encourage others to spend some time just thinking about, like, by the time you're, 50, what are a couple of things you really wanna try to accomplish? So a couple of things I have on my initial list, which will probably evolve or change, but starting with is one is staying healthy and trying to, keep up. I feel like recently I've been doing a good job about, eating better, exercising more consistently. Other things we talked about, like not drinking as much and just trying to have a healthier overall lifestyle. So trying to definitely want to stick with that. Although stretch more, we were joking before we started, Mike and I.
Mhm.
I was like, I went for a run this morning and I stretched afterwards, but I'm still sore. So I'm like, I think I need to start stretching probably every single day.
Every day.
Every
Every
day.
day.
So prime time, but my body needs a little tune up, I guess, to to stay in prime time. Um, but yeah, staying healthy is one thing. Kind of being there for my wife and boys, like us making those core memories together. I want to keep coaching my two boys in sports. That's been a fun experience. I will celebrate, or my wife and I will celebrate our 15th and 20th wedding anniversaries in my 40s. So, taking a big trip together to celebrate those two kind of milestone anniversaries. I don't think I can become fluent in two languages, but I do want to try to become proficient or fluent in one language. I think that's a doable thing by the time I'm through with my 40s. There's some different work goals, and I want to talk about work a ton, but one of the things we do is we invest in real estate projects, and I think it would be cool to do more investing internationally, so outside the United States. So that's a goal. And then I don't know about making it to 50 or even 100 countries. I don't think that's probably realistic, but I do want to travel to a continent that I've never been to before. I think that would be kind of cool. I don't know which one that is, but I've been to North America, obviously, to Europe, to the Middle East, but another part of the world that we've not, and Central America, another part of the world that we've not been to yet, I think would be kinda cool.
You probably need to put together your list of countries because you and I have traveled internationally
Yeah,
quite a
you've
bit, and
traveled
I
more than
just
I have. No, there probably is a good number on there, but I don't think it's anywhere close to, maybe it's, I don't think it's close to 50. Anyway, we'll have to do another episode about maybe travel or something again
uh
and figure out how many places we've been. Because you traveled, I feel like you travel more than I do, but
I
we'll
don't
see.
know.
We both have a
We'll
lot.
see.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, I think that's a good start, that list, and as I said, it'll probably change over time, and especially as I sit down and think about this some more. But I do really like this exercise, this idea. And as you said in the beginning too, I would love to hear what other people ideas they have, or if they've gone through the exercise. Let us know what you all think. And I think it's always fun to hear what other people, what their goals are, or kind of like big plans that they've got.
And if you've not done this exercise, would you consider doing it? Because
Yeah,
I
give it
think
a
that's
shot. Yeah,
that's the one big thing that I kind of took away from I mean, the Wall Street Journal essay did not explicitly talk about that in particular. It was more of a
yeah,
celebration of all of these people doing amazing things after 40. But that's really what inspired me to think about this more broadly. Is that look, prime time is a real fucking thing, and I think
yeah.
why sit there and slow down when we've got your health. Go for it. Go
I mean,
big.
that's a good point. I think and this is just kind of top of mind, and hopefully neither one of us gets sick or anything, right? So we have our health for many years, decades ahead. But I mean, I think we've got a good, what, 15, 20 years of like prime time, right? I feel like it's not
Yeah.
just in your
Well, I
40s
don't
thing
know.
either.
Isn't 50 old now?
I
I'm
don't
joking.
think so.
It's
No. Oh
no,
yeah,
it's
no. I
not.
was like,
I'm
no,
joking.
it's
I'm
too close.
joking.
It's not old. I feel like
No,
the
I'm
definition
joking.
of old moves as we age. Like the number keeps getting pushed back as to what I consider old. But I do think, yeah, like prime time to it. I guess maybe it starts in your 40s, but I think it goes through your 50s, right? You probably continue to feel confident, have your legs under you, like kind of can keep going for those big experiences.
Absolutely. And hopefully this podcast is still going by then and we'll be able to sit there and talk about what it is like in our 50s. All we could do right now, all we can do is talk about our 40s.
That's right.
all.
I know. It's just saying I wanted to keep going for another 15, 20 years before we slow down. That would be
That's right.
That'd
That's
be
right.
nice. Yeah.
If we ever slow down. I know.
That's
I see a
true.
lot,
If we
I see a lot of people that keep going in their 60s, and
who knows what the future holds.
that's right. That's right.
Mm.
All right. So we've blown through another 30 minutes. If you've not done so already, please like and subscribe. It doesn't cost you a thing, but it helps us out a lot. Remember that you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartMedia, and all your favorite podcasting platforms. And until next week, good luck, guys.
See ya.